Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to Steve's Spots, where I visit those maybe not so well-known places you may not find in a normal tourist guide. Today, we're in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now, a lot of people come down to this area to go to Mammoth Cave National Park, which is a very interesting attraction. However, they don't come into Bowling Green to see some of the attractions here or the areas around here, and we're going to visit a few of those today. We're going to start off with St. Joseph Catholic Church. This 1859 parish provides its own thread of beauty and diversity to the colorful tapestry that is Bowling Green history. Although looking somewhat plain on the outside, the inside is absolutely beautiful. The artistry, colors, and ornateness can rival much larger and well-known churches, not only in the U.S., but also in Europe. Catholic settlers began arriving in Kentucky in around 1775, immigrating chiefly from Maryland. By 1808, the number of Catholics had grown steadily, which led to the development of the Diocese of Bardstown, the oldest inland American diocese. In 1841, the headquarters of the Diocese of Bardstown was moved to Louisville, a more prosperous and more centralized city. In 1856, the Louisville and Nashville Railroad began construction of the bridge over the Barren River, just to the east of Bowling Green. Bowling Green became a scene of great activity as many German and Irish Catholic laborers were drawn to the area to work on the railroad. They urgently requested a priest from the Bishop of Louisville. Bishop Martin Spalding appointed the Reverend Joseph DeFries as missionary pastor of the southern Kentucky counties. He was asked to organize a parish and build a church in Bowling Green. During that summer, a crude frame building was hurriedly built on a donated lot. This small temporary mission sat on the corner of what is now Church Avenue and Berry Street. It served as a school building during the week and was converted to a church for Mass on Sundays. The first Mass celebrated in the church was on Easter Sunday, 1860. Complete construction was delayed due to the outbreak of the Civil War. However, the first brick structure was finished and dedicated to St. Joseph in 1862. St. Joseph's Church, as it is today, rose in stages from the small 1860 brick building. An 1870 addition provided higher and wider walls containing the semicircular apse with the sanctuary and 3 altars. This served until 1884 when further enlargement became necessary. The higher walls were extended to the street, completely surrounding the original church, which was then torn down from the inside. This final addition and the enlargement of a cathedral-like structure that is St. Joseph today took 5 years for completion. It was finally consecrated on May 4th, 1889. And as I mentioned before, this church is well worth your visit. Your next stop is the National Corvette Museum. The National Corvette Museum, which opened in 1994, showcases the Chevrolet Corvette that's been in production since 1953. Now, the Corvette is it's considered America's favorite sports car, and it's also the longest-running model car in the nation's history. No other automotive museum in the world is dedicated to a single model car. And as a side note, every Corvette built since 1981 is built right here in Bowling Green in the plant next door. Consistently named among the top best attractions for car lovers in the U.S., this top-rated museum, which is over 115,000 square feet, features over 70 Corvettes, mostly on loan by private donors, including mint classics like the 1953, which by the way is my favorite, prototypes, rare finds, and racing champs. Families will enjoy the Kid Zone with hands-on activities for children, and the exhibit hall features rotating exhibits not always focused on the Corvette. Big kids will just love making their friends jealous when sharing photos of themselves in the Sitter Corvette available in the lobby. Of course, you can make your friends really jealous by paying an additional fee to ride around the property in one of the museum-owned Corvettes, or by having a full Corvette experience at the adjacent motorsports park. Or consider taking a virtual spin on a real Corvette on the museum's boulevard with a racing simulator. For a small fee, you can drive the modified Corvette with lifelike movements surrounded by 3 video screens, providing the racetrack's visuals. Available for all ages as long as your feet can reach the pedals. And also passengers are allowed. The self-guided tour of the museum takes about an hour or so, and guided tours are also available. So, If you're a Corvette enthusiast, or if you're a car enthusiast, you'll want to stop at this museum. It's well worth the visit. After visiting the St. Joseph's Catholic Church and the National Corvette Museum, you may want to stop off here at the Kentucky Museum, located on the Western Kentucky University campus. If you think the Bluegrass State is only horses and bourbon, then step into this 80,000 square foot museum celebrating all aspects of South Central Kentucky's archaeology, art, clothing and textiles, furniture, glassware, ceramics, quilts, toys, and games. Current exhibits focus on issues such as women's role in politics, crazy quilt mania, the art and science of the Mammoth Cave, and many more. There is even a striking art installation in the courtyard produced by visiting artists, in addition to a beautiful mural inside the museum's lobby. Explore some sweet history in the Duncan Hines exhibit, and follow the career of this Bowling Green native, from traveling salesman to esteemed restaurant critic to cake mix king. Other permanent exhibits include the Snell Franklin Decorative Arts Gallery, featuring decorative arts from an Egyptian sarcophagus to 1970s macrame, the world-renowned collection in the Elizabeth Richardson Quilt Gallery, and the 1810 Phelps Log House is also featured on the property and displays building techniques, furniture, tools, and clothing authentic to the 1810s time period. Additionally, there's a look at the Civil War from a local perspective. Changing galleries display a variety of themes, with community exhibitions, university class designed and installed exhibitions, and some annual events, like the Open Art Show. Instruments of American Excellence, or the IAE exhibit, is unique among museums. Its purpose is to collect the ordinary means by which Americans have achieved extraordinary things, the actual tools or instruments that have helped change the course of our nation's history. It includes items that belong to Madeleine Albright, Daniel Boone, Jimmy Carter, Tony Hawk, Roger Ingram, Helen Keller, Liza Minnelli, and many, many more. About 10 miles west of Bowling Green is the South Union Shaker Village. The museum is just 10 miles from Bowling Green, and it's located at the site of a South Union Shaker Village in Auburn, Kentucky. The village was established in 1807 and closed in 1922. For more than a century, this historic site served as a home for the members of the, I'm going to read this, United Society of Believers in Christ's Second Appearing, more commonly known as the Shakers. The Shakers were established in England around 1747 and came to the United States around 1780. By the time they got to Kentucky, they had a very good reputation and people wanted to be a part of her movement. A lot of people came here not as much for a religious aspect as they did for the comfort level of living here. Although women and men, whether married or not, and children lived in separate dorms, it afforded a warm place to live and 3 hot meals a day. Adults, whether married or not, had to be celibate once joining. Now, Shaker Village was just for people who were willing to live this kind of lifestyle. They didn't have anything against marriage for other folks, just not for them. Another aspect of Shaker religion was that they grew by the conversion of adults. However, they didn't go out and preach, and they didn't send out any missionaries. The Shakers first settled in Ohio, and from there branched further south and west. In the next 4 to 5 years, there were 4 villages in Ohio, 2 in Kentucky, and 1 in Indiana. South Union is about as far as they got geographically. It's considered the most southern and the most western of the villages that lasted for a long time. The village thrived and prospered for many, many years. However, after the Civil War, the railroad provided an easy way for young people to leave. Anyone was free to leave at any time, and many young people did. As a celibate community, when the young workforce started to go other places, it created a big dent in what could be done by the remaining community members. By 1922, there were only 9 people left in South Union, but they still owned 4,000 acres of land and over 100 buildings, many needing major repairs. Something had to be done, and they decided to close the village and sell off everything that they had. When they closed the village in 1922, they had a large auction, and they got rid of everything, absolutely everything, personal possessions, clothing, woolens, stoves, land, farm equipment, livestock. It drew over 4,000 people. The remaining Shakers were provided with $20,000 each, and could go wherever they wanted to and do whatever they wanted. Only one chose to join another Shaker village. Shakers are known for their communal lifestyle, equality of gender and race, pacifism, and celibacy. Today, only one community near Portland, Maine still exists, and it has only 2 members. You always hear about the Shakers, primarily about the quality of their woodwork. However, there is much more to their society and history than just that. A visit to this museum will provide an understanding of their beliefs and their lifestyle.
And you can't miss this. It's the literal fork in the road.
In a rural, grassy, sleepy part of Kentucky about 15 miles south of Bowling Green, a 21-foot-high stainless steel dinner fork stands upright in the middle of a small country road intersection. The fork is worth a drive-by, if for nothing else, to enjoy the rural scenery of central Kentucky. The base is stamped with 2018, the year the high school class made the fork. It's definitely the largest fork in the road in Kentucky, or anywhere else probably. That alone should make it worth a visit. It's a one-lane road in and out, so watch for oncoming traffic in the curves and don't get off the pavement. The fork was erected in May of 2018 and built by the senior welding class of Franklin Simpson High School. Made of stainless steel, it's 21 feet tall, weighs 680 pounds, and is anchored with a ton of concrete. The welding teacher knew of the rural intersection and thought it would be funny to put a giant fork there. So that's what happened. It became a class project that provided a way to train future welders. There's also a knife in the road nearby, but no spoon yet. As I mentioned, the countryside is quiet and just so beautiful that you won't mind the short drive to visit a quirky little known attraction like this.
So, those are just a few of the things you can see around Bowling Green, Kentucky, other than the Mammoth Cave National Park. I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Steve. I'll see you next time on Steve Spots.